Shri Govardhan ki, Ashur Vrindavan Dham ki, Namanik Mayapur Dham ki, Jagannath Puri Dham ki, ISKCON Champa Dham ki, Jamuna Mai Ganga Mai ki, Śrīmad Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Sankirtan-Yagya ki, Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Transcendental Prasadam Distribution ki, Transcendental Cow Protection ki, Samavita Bhaktivinoda ki, Gopavanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to Śrī Guru and Śrī Gauranga. Dhanyavad, Vanikam. Thank you very much. Prabhupada. So today, I'm on the Zoom. They call me Zoomananda Goswami. Actually, Mahavishnu Swami, disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada from London, England, traveling with Harinam party all over the world. We're on our way to Colombia, and then Ecuador, and then Brazil. So we've just come from America, into quite a few places. We've been in New York, Miami, we've been to Philadelphia, Baltimore, then we went to, then we went from Baltimore to Pittsburgh, then Miami, then we went down to El Paso Rath Yatra, then Tucson and Phoenix, then Grand Canyon and Las Vegas. Then we went to Las Vegas. Where did we go then? Oh, we've been to Denver, Colorado. Then we went to, I don't know, where did we go then? Then we went to, there's so many places I can't remember. Then we went to, we came to Miami again. Went to we called in Orlando. We went to Alachua for a few days, Gainesville. We did programs in Gainesville, and which was very nice. And then we went down to Mexico City for Govardhan Puja. Wow. Mexico City for Govardhan Puja. We stayed one night in a place called Tapaslan, which is one of the traditional holy places in Mexico. And then we came back from Mexico to Miami. Then we went to Tampa. Before Tampa we went to New Orleans. We went to New Orleans, and now we're in Tampa. Now we're going to New York, and then Colombia, and then Ecuador, and Brazil. Then we have a plan to go India in February. We're not quite sure of the future. Nobody's quite sure. Anyway, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam remains the same. The Nigama Kalpataro Galitam Palam Sukha Mahad Amrita Dravya Samritam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasa Malayam Ahorisika Bhubu Bhavaka. Because it's the essence of all Vedic knowledge. It's the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. And it's to be relished by Mahora Rasika Bhubu Bhavaka, devotees who are interested in Krishna and want to hear more about Krishna. So this is an important verse for me as a sannyasi, and it's important for everyone. Prabhupada wrote these purports in Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan before he went to the West. And he had taken sannyas, or he was about to take sannyas and go to the West. So he wrote these purports for us to bring us out of this material entanglements and help us to be encouraged, qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, to where we really belong, the transcendental platform. So it's a very nice verse. Om Namo bhāgavata-sevayā. It's Canto 2, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chapter 1, Text 4. Okay? Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 4. This chapter is called The First Step in God Realization. The first step in God realization. So we need this. We're all struggling to get out of this material world. So we need this kind of talks from Srila Prabhupada. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Dehapatya Kalachadishu Ātma
Ātma
Sannyasvasatsvapi
Sannyasvasastrapi
Tesham. We can have the book I've got on my phone. Tesham.
I'm sharing the screen now. Sorry.
I don't need the book. I have my phone. Tesham Pramata Nidhanam Pashyan Api Na Pashyati Dehapatya Kalachadishu
Dehapatya kaladrishu
Ātma Sannyasvasatsvapi
Ātma Sanyashvastupi
Tesham Pramato Nidhanam
Tesham Pramato Nidhanam
Pashyanapi Na Pashyati
Pashyanapi na pashyati
Dehapatya Kalachadishu
Dehapatya kaladrishu
Ātma Sannyasvasatsvapi
Ātma Sanyashva Ashtvashvipi
Tesham Pramata Nidhanam
Tesham Pramato Nidhanam
Pashyanapi Na Pashyati
Pashyanapi na pashyati.
Say.
Yes, sir.
Anyone on Zoom wants to say?
Yeah. I think Puja Mataji was reciting. Please go ahead. Recite the words.
Depayatya kalatradisa Ātma sayanebhya Ātmasa api tesam pramato nidhyanam namam prasayam api na prasyati. Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Anyone else, please?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Danvat Pranam Maharaj. Dehapatya kalatradesh Ātma Sannyasvasatasvapi Tesham Pramatto Nidhanam Pashyanapi na pashyati. Hari Bol.
Good. Any gents?
Gents. Vipul Prabhu or Ravi Prabhu?
How many online today?
About 7.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Maharaj, Danvat Pranam. Dehapatya kalatradishu Ātma
Dehapatya Kalachadishu
Ātma Soinesho Astabo api
Ātma Sannyasvasatsvapi
Tesham Pramatto Nidhanam
Tesham Pramato Nidhanam
Pashyan api na pashyati.
Pashyanapi Na Pashyati.
Dandat Maharaj. All goes to Śrī Bhagavatam.
Deha.
Body.
Body.
Apatya. Let's hear you.
Apatya.
You can unmute. We want to hear you.
Okay, some devotees can unmute, please.
Apatya.
Apatya
Children.
Yeah.
Kalatra. Wife. Adishu. And in everything in relation to them.
And in everything
Relationship.
Ātma. Own. Sanyeshu. Fighting. Fighting soldiers. Asatsu. Fallible. Api, in spite of, Tesham, of all of them, Pramata, too attached, Nidanam, destruction, Pashyan, having been experienced, Api, although, Na, does not, Pashyati, see it. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, King. Persons devoid of Ātma Tatva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see the inevitable destruction. Please repeat. Persons devoid of Ātma Tatva.
Persons devoid
of Ātma Tattva
Do not inquire into the problems of life.
into the problems of life.
Being too attached to the fallible soldiers, like the body, children, and wife.
Like body, children, and wife.
Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see the inevitable destruction. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This material world is called the world of death. Every living being, beginning from Brahma, whose duration of life is some thousands of millions of years, down to the germs who live for a few seconds only, is struggling for existence. Therefore, this life is a sort of fight with material nature, which imposes death upon all. In the human form of life, a living being is competent enough to come to an understanding of this great struggle for existence. But being too attached to family members, society, country, etc., he wants to win over the invincible material nature by the aid of bodily strength, children, wife, relatives, etc. Although he is sufficiently experienced in the matter by dint of past experience and previous examples of his deceased predecessors, he does not see that the so-called fighting soldiers, like the children, relatives, society members, and countrymen, are all fallible in the great struggle. One should examine the fact that his father or his father's father has already died, and that he himself is therefore also sure to die. And similarly, his children, who are the would-be fathers of their children, will also die in due course. No one will survive in this struggle with material nature. The history of human society definitely proves it. Yet, the foolish people still suggest that in the future they will be able to live perpetually with the help of material science. This poor fund of knowledge exhibited by human society is certainly misleading, and it is all due to ignoring the constitution of the living soul. This material world exists only as a dream due to our attachment to it. Otherwise, the living soul is always different from the material nature. The great ocean of material nature is tossing with the waves of time, and the so-called living conditions are something like foaming bubbles which appear before us as bodily self, wife, children, society, countrymen, etc. Due to a lack of knowledge of self, we become victimized by the force of ignorance and thus spoil the valuable energy of human life in a vain search after permanent living conditions, which are impossible in this material world. Our friends, relatives, and so-called wives and children are not only fallible, but also bewildered by the outward glamour of material existence. As such, they cannot save us. Still, we think that we are safe within the orbit of family, society, or country. The whole materialistic advancement of human civilization is like the decoration of a dead body. Everyone is a dead body flapping only for a few days. What's going on?
Someone was not on mute.
Huh?
Someone was not on mute. I did that. They were
Distracting everyone.
sorry.
Everyone is a dead body flapping only for a few days. And yet all the energy of human life is being wasted in the decoration of this dead body. Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out the duty of the human being after showing the actual position of bewildered human activities. Persons who are devoid of the knowledge of Ātma Tatva are misguided. But those who are devotees of the Lord and have perfect realization of transcendental knowledge are not bewildered. Srila Prabhupada King.
Jai.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Dena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Sapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Śrī Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityaṁ Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrī Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada King.
Jai.
So I'm happy, very happy to be in the company of devotees who are not bewildered by this struggle for material existence, which is a hopeless struggle against material nature. Can you concentrate? With the three people here, that only the boys listening. I don't understand it, you know. Trying to give some important, nobody cares. Disappointing, you know. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. This is bewilderment. As soon as there's some slight thing, then we forget what's the real problem of life. Real problem of life is we're going to die. Isn't it? That's the real problem of life. Krishna says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshana Dasanam. This is knowledge. So I'm happy to be here, like I said, with devotees who are persons who are not bewildered by all this. Although they have a beautiful house, they have a nice job, IT and engineering, and they have $1 million house, and you know, living in America, still they've taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada and this transcendental knowledge, and they know that it's all a waste of time. All these material acquisitions, even the family and friends, and so on, they cannot help us. But our real guide and help is this beautiful picture here. Guru Parampara. This knowledge is coming down. The real science of life, Ātma Tatva, is coming down from Shukadeva Goswami, Lord Brahma, Narada, to Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Vedas, to Madhvacharya. You see all in this nice picture here, all the way down to Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityaṁ, and so on down to the 6 Goswamis, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, Shyamananda, and then we have Baladev Vijayabhushana, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and then Jagannath Das Babaji, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Gorkishore Das Babaji, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada. This knowledge has been passed down for generations and generations. It's the real science, Ātma Tatva. Prabhupada is mentioning that this translation, person devoid of Ātma Tatva. What is this Ātma Tatva? It means the truth about ourselves. Who am I? What am I? Why I was born? What is this world? Why I have to grow old? Why I have to have diseases? These big questions. One time I went to my father. My father was a metallurgist. He was a highly trained scientist, Sheffield University, which is one of the most important universities in the world for metallurgy. And he had a big degree, and he had a good job in a Canadian company in Shirley near Birmingham. Big company making this hard-facing alloy, non-ferrous alloy, titanium, cobalt, chromium. It's the alloy they put in your body for joints. It will never corrode. And they put on turbine blades. Therefore, he didn't fight in the Second World War because he was making the metal, making the turbines work. So I went to my father when I was about 11 or 12. And I was feeling very depressed at school. What am I learning at school? What am I learning? It doesn't help me. It doesn't say who I am. It says, pass your exam. One time I was in physics class, studying A-level physics. And then the teacher, he put on a very big formula, Newton's third law of thermodynamics, something like that. So all the class was getting it down in their notebooks. So I put up my hand. Me and my friend, we were, we doubted that this science was of any use. I put up my hand. Yes, really Hoff, what is your question? Why? I said, one word, I said, why? He became agitated, he said, don't ask why. Just get it down in your book and pass your exams. And if you want to know why, you go to the school chaplain, the pastor, the vicar, whatever you call him in America, who teaches religion. You go to him if you want to know why. It's actually, he gave me good guidance in that regard. So I could understand physics. He didn't give any. This modern science didn't give any proper answers. Because you know what it's like? It's like a dog chasing his tail. Have you ever seen a dog, puppy dog? Have you never had a dog? In Colombia, everyone has a dog, even devotees. But a baby dog, sometimes tries to catch his tail. And he's running around the circle, trying to catch his tail. So we're looking down the telescope or microscope, trying to find out the ultimate particle. And what is it? Almost a neutron, a boson, or pason. But we don't know who we are. We don't know who is looking down the telescope. You understand? Who am I? It's no good. You're looking in the wrong direction. You can never. It's like a dog trying to chase his tail. You're going around in circles because you still don't know who you are. So if you don't know who you are, how can you know what anything else is? Right? Just like if somehow or other you arrived in America and you don't know what is America. You don't know whether you're a citizen of China or French, France, you don't know anything. You see. So this kind of knowledge, Ātma Tatva, you cannot get by looking down your microscope and telescope and in your physics class or biology class. We used to, at biology class, it was the most horrible thing. I had to go to, I love biology in many ways. I like living things. But we had to take these rats, white rats, and kill them. And we had to put chloroform in, and then we had to cut them open and even see their heart beating and see the veins and stomach. So, it just seemed to be, apart from cruel, it's missing the point. What is that life that we see? What's the difference between a dead body and a live body? This is Ātma Tatva. You see, is this mobile phone, is it alive or not? What's your name? Huh? Krishna. That's right. So is this alive?
No, it's not.
Not alive. And this mobile phone will be useless unless I work it. It's a machine. So the living being is more important than the machine. The driver is more important than the car. But how do I know about myself, what I am? Prabhupada gives the example, simple example. Everyone should teach their children this. The little boy is going in the street. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. 1 minute. Can you tell me are you my father? Excuse me, sir. Are you my father? Excuse me, sir. Are you my father? What a waste of time. A little boy, do you have a mother? Yes. Why don't you ask your mother? Oh, that's a good idea. Hey, mommy. Actually, one time I went to my mother. I always tell the same story, but they're very important in my life and it's helpful to other people. My mother was doing the washing up in the kitchen. You know, in the kitchen, there's kitchen sink. My mother was doing washing up. I was living in Birmingham, UK. So I was about 6. Mommy, holding onto her dress. Mommy, where do we come from? Mommy, where do we come from? So anyway, I'm going off the track. I asked my father, he was a big scientist. I'll come back to that. I asked my father, what's the purpose? What's the point of life? He said, well, son, you pass your exam. That's the first thing. Second thing, you get a good job. Okay? Third thing, you get a nice family and house. And then you're happy. I didn't believe him. I didn't think they were so happy, you know. Of course, my parents were good people. They were faithful to one another. They weren't drunkards. They weren't, you know, they were very nice people, middle-class people in England, educated. But I still didn't think they were happy, even with their material affluence. So that was my father's advice. So back to my mother. Mommy, where do we come from? My mother went red in the face. She thought we were asking about, you know, reproduction, something like that. She said, oh, when mommy and daddy kiss. That's a funny answer. Am I just some chemicals? Am I just some chemicals that have come together? If only my mother had Ātma Tatva. If only my mother, because the Vedic knowledge is like our mother. So that little boy went to his mother, please tell me who is my father. And the mother would say, here is your father. Or he's away at the moment. He went to Vietnam War. He's away at sea. When he comes back, you can see him. So I asked my mother a more important question. Where do we come from? If only my mother had said, oh, you are an eternal spirit soul. You've never been born and you will never die. But you're changing your body. Just like you change your clothes. Tatva vishago janatago viplavo. No, that's the wrong one. So, how's it go? You're changing your body, right? Vasam chijinani yatabihaya navani grinati naroparani. Just as we change our clothes, dirty clothes, we put on new clothes, we're putting on new bodies. Lifetime after lifetime. Grouped about the mind. Shrotram chakshus pashnam cha rasnam granam evacha adhistayamanas chaiva. You get a new body grouped around your mind. When the body dies, then the soul is carried by the subtle body because of attachment and is given a new body by the laws of material nature. And Daivi prakriti netrena. The laws of nature are so powerful. They control what body we're going to get in our next life. We can't avoid it. How did we get this body? You were born in a nice Indian family, an educated family. Now you have a nice, good education. So why? Why I was born in this family? This is called Ātma Tatva questions. This is the questions we have to ask for getting a spiritual master. Big questions. Not just, oh, how can I pass my exam? How can I get money? Even animals are doing this. asking so many questions. Ahara nidra bhaya machinam, asking questions. Where can I eat? Where can I sleep? Where can I have sex? Where can I? How can I defend myself? These are animal questions, but we're not animals. Dharmena hina pashubhisama. What's the difference between an animal and a human being? Do you know? Huh? What's the difference between an animal and a human being?
Animals have less knowledge, but we have more.
Animals have less knowledge, he said. Less knowledge.
I'm sure that's not true. I was by the beach. I saw these little birds. They're very small beach. They're dodging the waves, catching their food. Just this big. Huge sea is there. They're running here and there. And if there's any danger, they can fly away. So they have so much knowledge. They can get their food. They can fly. We can't do that. So what is the real difference between an animal and a human being?
The real difference is that animals have to work to eat and sleep, and they wander here and there, but humans stay in one place and they
The wife doesn't
No,
say.
this is not the proper answer. Because trees stand there, they get everything. They get the sunlight, they get the air, and they make fruits, they're living. So just movement is not the main thing, difference between an animal and a human being. Dhamena hina pashubhisama. It is said by Chanakapana, or anyway. How's it go? Ahara nidra bhayam machinam cha samasham etad pashubhisama. The eating, sleeping, mating, and depending are the same for animals and human beings. But the difference is we have dharma, which means we have this question: who am I? What am I? A dog is only thinking, I am dog. A donkey is only thinking, I am a donkey. A bird is only thinking, I am a bird. A human being can ask this question about self-realization, Ātma Tatva. Who am I? He has sufficiently intelligence given to him in the human form of life that he can inquire about who am I? What am I? You see? That's the difference, real difference. But you also see Hanuman had a monkey's body, but he had Ātma Tatva. Jatayu, the bird who saw Ravana steal Sita, he had Ātma Tatva. So it's not necessarily the type of body that you have, but it's the mind and intelligence which makes you human. Right? So this is what this verse is about. So just like in my hat, can you pass the hat over? In my hat, I'm trying to teach people about Ātma Tatva. What is the self? You see, people don't know this simple truth from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2 text.
Music play mode.
Chapter 2 text. They don't know the fact that we are not this body. We are the soul in this body. You can see here the light going from baby to old age. The body is changing, but we are the same. Isn't it a fact? You know, once you had a body this age, and also a baby's body, but you're the same person. I'm an old man now, 76. So I'm still the same person when I was a baby. I can still see the pictures of my mother has pictures. My mother had pictures of me when I was a baby. when I had a baby's body, not that I was a baby. So this body is like clothes. So this is the beginning of Atma Tatva. I'm not this body. I'm not this body. I'm not this body. We should try and understand this. It's very simple knowledge. Let me ask you a question. Do you say I finger or my finger?
What do you say, I finger or
Do you
my
say
finger?
I finger or my finger? Huh? Yes, correct. Do you say I nose or my nose?
What do you say? Please tell.
My nose.
Yes. Okay. I knee or my knee? Yeah, good. Okay, now what about the mind? I mind or my mind? Yeah. I intelligence or my intelligence? Yeah. So who am I? I'm different from all this. And I can see my body changing throughout my life. So when Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yatati, Komaram yovanam jara, Tata dehantara prapti, dearest Tatva, as the embodied soul, me, passes in this body from childhood to youth to old age. Similarly, the soul changes into another body at death. It's not that we're going to die. The self-realized soul, the person with proper education, the Prabhupada is giving us, and in Prabhupada's book, he's not bewildered by this change. He may be frightened. Everyone's frightened of death. If there's a fire in this house, we'll all run outside. If there's an earthquake, we'll all run outside. But still, we're not actually, we know what we are. We know we're never going to die, even if the body dies. So this is called Atma Tatva. So unfortunately, we're so fortunate. We're devotees. You have good parents and a spiritual master. They're teaching you all these things. So do not be bewildered by this modern education and college and school. And many times I see, young boys, even young boys are children of parents who are devotees. All they're doing is looking at mobile phone, mobile games. But do you ask the question, who am I? Where am I going? We don't know when we're going to die. Just because you're young, do you think young people don't die?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. They get run over. Krishna forbid, of course. So the thing is that the real problem is birth, disease, old age, and death. And we have to overcome this problem. Not with material science. Even if you have a big house, big family, big country, still have to, even if you have Donald Trump or Mr. Biden, President of the United States, Mr. Putin, if you're Jeff Bezos is a CEO of Amazon. You know that? You know that, right? How did you learn? How many billions of dollars does he have?
100 billion.
$250 billion. He can buy a whole country. And you know what he's doing? You know how stupid he is?
Trying to be the first trillionaire.
Trying to be?
First trillionaire.
Trillionaire.
Yeah, how stupid. But you know what he's trying to do? He's setting up a big laboratory and inviting all the big scientists, gerontology, how to overcome death. How foolish. He doesn't understand that this Bhagavatam is telling you, and Bhagavad Gita is telling you, Jatasya hi drupam mricho, drupam janma mrichas. For one who is born, death is certain. This is Vedic knowledge. Just like I asked Prabhu, I said, where does the sun rise? He said, in the east. This is Vedic knowledge. It's infallible. You cannot change it by your mother's. The sun didn't rise this side. The moon set this side, and the sun rose this side. So for one who is born, death is certain. This is a fact of life. So we should base our life on these facts. So how to do that? We find out where to get this knowledge, especially in this chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa. You may think, oh, what is this we're going on the street chanting Hare Krishna. No. Lord Chaitanya says, Vidya Balu Jivana. This is the mother of all the wife, or I can say the wife, of all spiritual knowledge. By this chanting Hare Krishna, we understand, I'm not this body. I'm spirit soul. It's so easy. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And what do we do after you've chanted? Take prasadam. This is called yoga. In yoga, there's the most important sense to control is the tongue. So how to control the tongue? By chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
and
Hare.
taking prasadam. So this is, you're very fortunate to have this knowledge of Srila Prabhupada that's given us, and take prasadam and chant Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. Any questions? I've gone on too long, 9 o'clock, but time for questions.
Maybe we can take one question now. If anyone on the Zoom,
No prasadam without questions. That's my rule.
anyone on the Zoom have question, please unmute and speak at this point. You can ask your-
What is the name of this universe?
Sorry?
What is the name of this universe?
Sorry, I don't know.
Maybe-
Maharaj, if nobody has questions.
Huh?
Maharaj, I saw your video that near-death experience. Yours or this Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj. So, yeah.
So, maybe you can spread this knowledge. I'm going to put it on my broadcast. That NDE track I made, very nice track. We were traveling in North India. We had an accident with a brick truck.
Brick truck.
And then actually the near-death experience was from my friend, Godhead. He had malaria in somewhere Himachal Pradesh, or he had malaria and he left his body. And he described to me how he went through these different channels. So as an artist, I joined these two, the car crash, and I was injured in the car crash, and then the near-death experience, I made that. So it wasn't my near-death experience. But we've got Hari's near-death experience. So at the time of great stress, then the soul can leave the body in a subtle body, just like every night we dream. Every night we dream. You dream? You have dreams? Yes? No? And you have dreams? So at that time we forget this body. We forget that we're in America. We forget that mommy and daddy. We forget our wife. And we go on the subtle platform. We go to other places created by the mind or in our memories. And we have so many experiences. So near-death experience is something like that. So in Gaurahari's near-death experience, he was detached from his family, and then he found he was going down these tunnels, and then he saw different religious people like Lord Buddha, Lord Shiva, and then he saw Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada told him, can't you remember what I taught you all these years? And then he remembered, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama. He saw beautiful Prabhupada. He started to chant again. And then he felt I'm coming back into my body again. I'm not dead. I didn't die. I came back into my body. And then he came back to his body. So actually, it was a fake. I didn't do this near-death experience. But Prabhupada said, every night we die. Because we forget this whole life. He may have a good job, he may have a good house, but you forget everything at night. So maybe you won't wake up in this body. If they drop an atom bomb on this, what is this place called? Tampa. If they drop an atom bomb on Tampa, you're sleeping, you won't wake up in this body. You'll be incinerated. You'll be burnt to ashes in a second. So you wake up in another body. So, you know, every one of us has near-death experience. I'm sure. Every night, great dream. Even William Shakespeare said, William Wordsworth, this life is like a dream and a forgetting. William Wordsworth, the great British poet. It's like Prabhupada is saying here, and I won't go on. Next question, please. Good question, though. You reminded me. I wanted to tell everyone that this is not my near-death experience.
Yeah, the topic is also same. I reminded of that.
Sorry?
Topic you are telling about the death experience because you had to chant the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamudra.
Yeah.
So I remember that video.
Yeah, it's nice, no? Next question.
But I have a question now. You mentioned about the bewilderment. Thank you first for this wonderful class and sharing about Ātma Tatva. We hear, we read Prabhupada's books and the Vaishnavas, but the bewilderment is so strong. As a child is attracted to the video games and small cars, toys, etc. As the child grows bigger, the adult is attracted to bigger cars and bigger things. But the problem is the same.
Are they hearing the question?
So how can we reduce that bewilderment and focus more towards Krishna?
So that's why Prabhupada, his question is, you know, just as the child is attracted to video games and playing, when we grow up, so-called grow up, we're also attracted to playing with big cars and money and, you know, ambitions and country, politics, family, and so on. We come still involved in all these things. Therefore, Prabhupada, knowing this, he created this institution, a society, a worldwide institution, ISKCON, and where we can live within this society of 99% rascals who don't know about Ātma Tatva. The Prabhupada says animal society. The modern society is actually animal society. To think I'm American, to think I'm male or female or this or that, this is animal identification with the body. So Prabhupada created a society, ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we can live within this orbit and be protected and have association so that we can cultivate our spiritual life. Even though we have attachments, we have our attachment to our family, our wife, our money, and so on. But at the same time, we're taking a medicine, it's the holy name. And we're not outcasts of society. Otherwise, you know, these Hare Krishnas, they're crazy, you know. What are they? You know, we have a culture. Unfortunately, in America is a blessed land, you know. Prabhupada came here. And why did he come here, not England? Because he knew that this was a very influential country, land of freedom of religion, and people can believe more or less what they want and not be disturbed, have the right. So you can be Hare Krishnas, you can worship the deity. You try and do this in the Middle East. Very, very difficult. And other countries also, not just Mohammedan countries, but other countries. Not so easy. to be Hare Krishna. So to take advantage and try and build up this culture, especially those who are born in Bharat Bhasa who have this culture. Lord Chaitanya said, Bharata Bhumita Hoila Manusya Janmaya Janma Sataka Karo Paropaka. So those who have this Indian culture in their blood, so to speak, from generations, they can actually do so much service for humanity by introducing this culture, like you're doing here, Jamba, and trying to also encourage other people from other cultures, Western cultures. Like today, you're having a picnic in the park. So that's a good idea, picnic in the park, public place. So hopefully, we'll attract also some Americans, young people, and they'll enjoy the picnic, take prasadam. This way, we devise methods. When we get in the mood of preaching, the mood of preaching is the safest mood. Prabhupada says, the safest position in this material world is kirtan ras, the taste of kirtan, giving it to others. That's the safest position. Mm-hmm. So if the Indian community in Tampa, it's natural for you, your Hindu background, and you have sattvic habits, just like we were in that place yesterday. Many people that are drunk out of their brains, so they can't think straight. But we do get them to chant Hare Kṛṣṇa and dance a bit. Some of them take books. So when they're sober, they might read the books. But you're fortunate, your culture is more self-controlled, and you have good family life, stable families. And so you're in a position to reach out to the local people, Americans, less fortunate people, actually, Americans. Prabhupada set the example, he came. One man from India, and look what he did, amazing. So you're many. If you become absorbed in this preaching, book distribution, harinams, festivals, how to attract these ignorant Americans, drunkards and sex mongers and meat eaters, and how to attract them. You have a good community, so now's your chance. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada King.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. So one more song, we'll sing one more song. Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara. Vande Krishna
Nanda Kumara.
Nanda Kumara. Madana Gopala.
Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala.
Madana Gopala. Mohana Rupa.
Madana Gopala. Madana Rupa.
Mohana Rupa.
Mohana Rupa Nanda Kumara. Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara. Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala.
Madana Gopala. Mohana Rupa.
Madana Gopala. Mohana Rupa Nanda Kumara.
Govinda
Govinda Hari Gopala Hari.
Jai Prabhu Dina Dayal.
Jaya Prabhu Dina Dayal Hari.
Vande Krishna
Vande Krishna Nanda Kumara. Nanda Kumara Madana Gopala.
Madana Gopala.
Madana Gopala.
Jai Jai Jai
Jaya Jaya
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare
Yeah, we'll end now.
Yeah, we continue. Hare Krishna Krishna